What's up, travelers? You have found the podcast that is here to explore the world. We are 5 travel experts, hooked on our trade, and ready to share our tales from around the world. You're listening to the Where We Roam podcast. Without further ado, let's roam. Hello, travelers, and welcome to the Where We Roam podcast. My name is John, and I am joined by my fellow podcasters. Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Good morning, John.
Good morning to you, John.
It is so nice to see all of you. How was your weekend?
It's great.
Busy.
Oh, yeah,
Busy, but
the weekend
good.
was good.
Yeah?
How was
That's
yours,
good to hear.
Sean?
Mostly uneventful. It was baseball. All weekend baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever...
Tis the season.
We're in soccer season right now.
Oh, I totally get that. But baseball, I don't know what it is. Somehow baseball thinks that they deserve 3 or 4 nights of your week.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
insane. Every other sport is like a practice and a game. Baseball is multiple practices a week, batting practice, games. It's crazy. So right now,
They
it's
didn't tell you that
3
when you
nights a
signed
week.
up? That you had to
Oh, we've
commit your whole
known.
entire
Jack's been
life?
playing for years. We learned this years ago. Jack did
We,
one summer. That was terrible.
We started
So-
on Cub Scouts here, and then we found out how long it was going to be for a time commitment, and we were like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that
Out.
for 1 year last year. And,
Those are
and then
intense.
we bowed out this year. Yeah.
Our big thing is we always make sure that the boys, if they commit to something, they finish it for the whole season.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct.
Right.
So
Mhm.
we're not quitting mid-season. We will see
Right.
this period
that
of
was
time through.
that was
and
a
then we
scary
can
thing
move
for
on.
us, exactly,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it
So,
wasn't
well-
just a kid commitment; that's a parent commitment.
Right.
Oh,
And a
yeah,
financial
it really
commitment.
is.
Gosh, y'all,
Yeah.
baseball really adds up fast.
Love you, Scouts. Love you. Keep doing your thing. I love your cookies.
I just
To
bought
each
Not
some
their
your
own.
the other
popcorn.
day.
Not your
Popcorn
popcorn.
sucks. No offense to the Boy Scouts, but no, I'm serious. It's not good.
It's good.
Like,
It's
I
not
was-
terrible.
I
It's not
just had my
terrible.
favorite Girl Scout drop off cookies the other day. I went through a whole box of tag-alongs in a day and a half.
Oh
We're
my
not going to go
gosh.
into that. Matthias had one of them,
Attaboy.
so I said I didn't eat the whole box myself.
There
It's
you
bad
go.
news. So anyway, welcome to the show, guys. I guess we
Hey.
had a little
Hey,
chat at the
everybody.
beginning. Good to catch up. So today we're actually going to be continuing our Xcaret series. Last week we talked about Hotel Xcaret, Mexico itself, and this week we're going to be talking about the all fun inclusive portion or the concept that they've rolled out. So you always hear about these resorts. They say they're all inclusive, and then you get there and a lot of things are included, but it's definitely not everything.
Right.
I would say there are very, very few upcharges at Hotel Xcaret, very few. And then all of the tours, all of the Xcaret parks, all of those things, all the excursions are included with the exception of 1 or 2 have a couple extra fees. So today we're going to talk about them, and I feel like we can get started with probably the one that's been around the longest, but that is going to be Xcaret Park. Have any of you guys done Xcaret?
No.
No.
Park
Just
itself?
No, not the parks, just the tour of the
No.
resort.
So to give you guys a little bit of an idea on it. So all of let me just give you a rundown. So I think we briefly mentioned them the other day. You have Hotel Xcaret, you have Xcaret Park, I'm gonna see if I can remember all of them off the top of my head. You have Xcaret Park, you're gonna have Xenses, which is on site. Xcaret Park is on site. You're gonna have Explore, which is on site. These can all be accessed via a bus. Then you
Mhm.
have Explore Fuego. Explore Fuego is a nighttime version of Explore. That is zip lining, ATV riding, underwater adventure, fun stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. It's totally worth doing. Highly recommend doing both the daytime and the nighttime. Then in addition to those parks that are on site, you also have parks that are off site. So the 2 big ones that are off site, you're going to have Xel Ha, which is south, closer to Tulum. And then you also, and that is more of a water themed park where it's got snorkeling, a lot of zip lines into water, giant water slides. It's that sort of vibe. And then in addition to that, you are going to have the one that's on the northern side of town called Xavage, Xavage. And Xavage is like another version of Explore, but like turned up. It's got whitewater rafting. It has like this, and you've seen it if you've ever driven south through from Cancun down to like heading towards Playa del Carmen. It is like the one with the giant ropes course. It's huge. It's enormous. And they've got all kinds of things there.
John, so let's say you're not staying at Xcaret. You can still do these parks, correct? They have general admission.
You can, so with the way that works is you can pay for one park for one day. You can do several parks and do like a package, package them all together. You could do the different tours they offer. We didn't even talk about the tours. So the big tours that you're going to have is you're going to have the one that's probably the most common is what they call Cenotes or Cenotes with an X.
Yeah.
And that is basically they go out to 4 separate cenotes, like different types. And it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of zip lining. There's a lot of snorkeling, a lot of cave exploring, cave diving, cliff jumping. We rappelled into a cave. A lot of fun. Then the other ones, we can go into more detail about them, but they are going to be Chichen Itza, which they call Chichen, I think, but with an X, Chichen. And then they also have Coba. They have a Tulum tour, and then in addition to that, they have Coba. And Coba and Chichen Itza are going to be further drives. Tulum is right there on the water south of Playa del Carmen. So it's like maybe a 45-minute drive from the hotel.
Okay.
And Tulum can be added with Xel Ha. I think actually you can add Xel Ha with Coba as well.
Do you know any of the standard price points that, let's say, a family of 4, because obviously Xcaret is friendly to family of 4. Do you know what that, like say they wanted to do one of these, they're looking at $125 per person, 150, so 200, depends. Where's that? Yeah.
So let's use Xcaret, the main original park, right? So this is really close to the hotel. If you're staying offsite, your pricing is going to run. There's 2 different types of pricing you can do. You can do the regular admission, which is $120 right now for an adult, $90 for kids, or you can do Xcaret Plus, which makes it more of an all-inclusive experience, where a buffet lunch is and your drinks at the buffet lunch are included. You're still gonna have to pay for snacks, but this is what the Xcaret Plus is, what comes with for everybody who's at Hotel Xcaret. Now, when you're actually there are a few add-ons. There's like if you wanted to go do like on a race boat, you can pay extra to do that. If you want to swim with dolphins, you can pay extra to do that. Or if you want to do like what do they call it? It's a giant paragliding. Is that what it's called? Yeah. So like those are like the add-ons. And then at night they have this what they call I want to say it's the Espectacular, like Mexico Espectacular, and it is like this huge show, one of the most famous shows in all of Cancun, where they take all of their daytime mini shows and bring it in under one roof, and they do a huge show. And the show is included in your daily admission, but if you want, you can do like a really unique buffet, or not buffet, but like served to you while you're watching, like dinner theater show while you're watching the show, and that is an additional purchase.
And then I know we touched on this on the last episode, but the age, like the youngest recommended age for this experience.
So with Xcaret, this is like all ages. Like this is like the park that you could probably go to with kids of any age. They won't be able to do everything, but they've got an aquarium. It's like the greatest aviary I've ever seen. They have like museums. They've got this really cool little village that they've created. And our kids like this because there's a lot of stimulation the whole day, lots of going. We did the river float through the caves, and my youngest did not like that because he was cold the whole time. He's got like no body fat. And I mean, he was shivering and angry by the end of it because it was like a 45-minute float. It was a long time.
What was the temperature? What was the water temperature?
70s probably. Okay.
Yeah.
So not freezing
That's cold for a kid though.
But
yeah.
So
Megan would be cold.
I'm already
Megan's
shivering thinking
always
about
cold.
it.
Yeah. Exactly. But so to answer the question, there's plenty to do. But like, in the village area that we were over there, they had different craft activities that were completely included. And there was a guy who does all the beadwork. So have you guys seen the picture I posted? And it's like of a giant face mask that someone did, and then they put the little tiny colored beads all over it.
Oh, put
This
them by
is the
hand.
artist who did
have
that.
to go
Yeah,
back
all by
and look.
hand. And he was
Oh,
teaching
wow.
the kids
Amazing.
how to do it. And as
That's
they
so
able to like take some
cool.
of it with them, and Jack did a really cool toucan one, and Matthias did a jaguar. It was very cool.
So
Awesome.
do you think
That
that
was like a
spending
really good thing.
do you think
Go ahead.
you need a whole day at each one of these parks?
So all of them are full day parks with the exception of Xenses. So
Okay.
I'll say this: Xcaret is shuttles are going every 20 to 30 minutes from the hotel. You can also book. Say you buy say you're staying offsite at another hotel, you can buy just the day excursion, or not the day. You can either buy it as like with transportation or just the entrance to the park. And that's why you see
Okay.
all the Xcaret buses running all around Cancun.
So
but
did you
go
say
ahead.
there were 8 total parks? What's the total number?
I don't remember off the top of my
I thought it
head
was
now,
like
Sean.
9,
I
John,
want to
isn't
say
it?
it's 10.
I have it in
10?
my notes. Give me
We all
one
have
second
different
here.
numbers.
So I just did a ballpark. Let's say you have a family of 4 and you do the all-inclusive, which you would get automatically if staying at Xcaret. But you decide you
Right.
want to do 8 parks. Family of 4, average price.
8
at-
parks plus excursions, but go ahead.
Yeah. At a price point of about $140 per person. I know adults will be a little bit higher.
And some
Kids will be
parks
a
are
little
more expensive, some are
lower.
less expensive. Yeah.
If you were to do that, you're already looking at $4,500
Mm.
just to do
Just
the
for the
parks.
parks.
So when we
Right.
talk about the price point of Xcaret, how it might be a little bit high, man, you look at all the stuff that's included. That's
Which
not
is right. Which is
that's
where my
a
brother
pretty
was
good
coming
value.
from, saying like, okay, I
Mhm.
see the value. Every time we went in, and you basically, and the best part is if you're staying at Hotel Xcaret, you go to a separate line, a separate entrance, and go in that way where there's no line.
Oh,
It's
that's
awesome.
Yeah.
And you
nice.
all you do is tap your magic band essentially, and you just keep walking.
Bypassing the
It's
the general.
great.
It's a lightning
Yeah.
lane. Xcaret lightning lane.
So
That's awesome.
right. So just to give you guys an overview, like you asked about the minimum age. So
Mhm.
for Explore, for Fuego, Xenses, and Xoximilco, minimum age is 5. Okay.
Okay.
For Cenotes is going to be 6. All the other parks, whether it's Xcaret Park, Xel Ha, which is the water theme, the tour at Chichen Itza, the tour at Coba, or the tour to Tulum, those all have no minimum age. So if you have littles, I would say the 2 that are best for you would probably be Xcaret Park, which is one we were just talking about, or Xel Ha, which is like a more water themed, plenty to do.
Mhm.
Or a tour.
That being said, or one of the tours, but the Cenotes tour I would not do. Minimum age is 6, and that's for good reason, because there's a lot of zip lining, a lot of adventure stuff. Under
Right.
6, your kid is either not going to be big enough to like complete it. Even my son, who was 8, there was one thing he couldn't do, and I don't remember what it was, but there was something he couldn't. So long story short, Xcaret Park is great for the cultural activities. It's like this really cool cultural, amazing, a spectacular Mexico show. Then in addition to that, it's great for nature lovers, like because everything from the aviary to we went and saw sharks, and people were in there with the sharks, swimming with sharks. That was so cool.
Like guests were?
Guests got in. I think you can pay extra to go in with the sharks, and that's a hard pass for me.
Hard no.
So yeah, but like, and the entertainment there was next to none. Like, it's everything from going through an old village where there's horses and like a horse show to, people swimming with sharks. It is like a variety and a celebration of all Mayan culture, Spanish culture. It's very cool. And the jaguars. Did I send you guys a picture of the jaguar I took?
I think you did.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Maybe just send it to Corinne.
I think I remember a jaguar. I don't know.
I dropped a lot of photo. I was like photobombing you guys while I was gone. So, but Xcaret is great. Like, I would definitely go. A couple tips on that is make sure to wear water shoes. Most of these parks, you're going to want to wear water shoes, or if you have strappy sandals. And I say strappy sandals, That sounds like girl sandals. I mean, like
I know what you mean.
Tevas,
Yeah.
or Chacos, those sorts of shoes that stay on, because you're going to want to do that. The bottoms of the rivers are not necessarily jagged, but they're not like comfortable,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So next park, maybe my favorite park, was Explore.
I could see that.
Oh my gosh, this is the zip lining park, and it was an absolute blast. This park admission is $142, so it's a little bit more expensive than the general admission for Xcaret. For kids is going to be $107, I think, is the price right now. And now this is always subject to change, exchange rates, all of that, things to think about. This is a 5+ park. I would say really 6 years old, 7 years old is where you're going to want to be. My nephew was 6, and he was able to go ziplining and do all that. So the minimum weight to go ziplining by yourself is 80 pounds. The maximum weight is 300.
Okay.
So, but if you're under 80, you can easily hop on with an adult or another kid, and then as long as the total weight is 80 pounds, they'll be able to complete the circuit or the line.
Do you mean total weight under 300? Is that what you meant?
Just between the two.
Yeah, it has to be between 80 and 300 pounds.
300. Okay.
Yeah. So there were some couples, like the guy was smaller and their wife was petite. They're under 300 pounds. The two of them, they were able to do it no problem. There were some other people that could definitely not do that. Now, there is one thing. If you are a bigger guy and you want to go with like your smaller child, your 5-year-old, even though you're well under the weight, there's balloons happening in my background. Even though you're under the weight, may not let you go because of the weight differential if it's windy. And and you may slam into each other. So that's kind of one of the things that they want to encourage. So the activities included here. I don't know why my phone is doing that. We're on video now.
And
it's so ridiculous.
always goes off.
It does it at least once a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why. It's a Mac thing, I guess. Here we are. So
anyway,
really quickly, included activities during the day. You've got zip lining, the amphibious vehicles, which the first time we did them during the day, there was no water. So we're like, this is like a no phibiousness or no, like there was no water.
Dirt bike experience.
Yeah, but it's kind of like an ATV vehicle, but like it kind of can go in water. And at nighttime, it did do that. Then they have the underground river rafting, the underground swim, then the underground expedition. This is funny. So we're trying to decide, like, okay, there's so many things to do. We just finished going ziplining and did the amphibious vehicles. We're getting a little tired. We're going to eat lunch soon. We want to do one more activity before lunch. Should we do the rafting, the underground river swim, or the underground expedition? And we're asking the people who worked there. They said, well, the underground expedition is kind of like an activity, but with just a little bit of water, just a little bit. And we're like, okay. And so we're like, we'll do that one. That way we don't get soaking wet before we're about to go. We think it's gonna be like above our ankles, right? Like, going through it. We were up to our chest in water. And we're like, in what world is this just a little bit of water? Something was lost in translation. But like, we speak Spanish, and they even told us, like, solo un poco agua. And we're like, okay, let's do it then. And we did it, and we were soaked. It was fun. We laughed. It was beautiful. But the one thing we did see, we saw the entrance to these rafts, the underground rafts. And instead of, for those watching on video can see this, and I'll try to do my best to describe it. Instead of having like a regular paddle, like on a raft, like a canoe or whatever, they give you these little hand things that are like little mitts almost that go on your hands. And then you have to like pull the water along the side of this flat raft that you're on. And as you're doing it, so there's a sign as you're getting on. It says, if you want to get divorced, go with your spouse. If you want to stay married, go by yourself.
I can see that. I can see that.
People hate this activity. It's very difficult. And so we didn't end up getting to do it. But it was so funny. Like,
you did it separately?
What's that?
Did you
I
do
don't think
separately?
We didn't even do it.
Oh,
we
you
skipped it
didn't.
because
You
we
didn't
did the
wanna take that risk.
expedition.
They wanted to stay married.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems more
We
like
also
a
did-
team building exercise than anything.
It seems like my kids yelling at each other sort of activity, which we didn't want to do. But there was also the hammock splash, which is like ziplining, except you're like in a hammock and you go down and you splash into the water, which was fun. It was fun. Matthias got launched out of his and was swimming, and the lifeguard jumped in because she was afraid he couldn't swim. It was really funny. So he was fine. He has a GoPro and everything on it, so you can see him like fall off. It was cool.
cool.
And we'll upload some GoPro video to the channel when this goes up as well, because there's some fun videos we took on the GoPro. Real quick funny story, and this may be offensive to some listeners, so I'm sorry. We told our kids were so nervous about before they're getting on the zip lining. I mean, it's high. The highest one, like you can see miles away. It's so high. It's like this giant platform, and there's this giant Mexican flag. If you're ever driving by it, you'll see it. And it's like 13 or 14 stories high. It's like 130 feet in the air. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
And you have to like walk off the edge to start. It's a lot. So my kids were freaking out. So we said to them, it's like, while you're going, you can say one bad word when you get on it. And so Steffi's going tandem with Matthias, and she's riding on the first one, and she's got the GoPro on her wrist, and you hear Matthias go, "Can I say a bad word?" And she goes, "Yeah, go ahead." And he goes, F, F, F. And we're like, oh my gosh, of all the words, he like chooses the granddaddy of all the words.
That's the word.
Well, what word did you expect him to say? What word did you expect him to say?
The A word, Dana.
Yeah, that's what he said the second time. He said the A word, and it was so funny because it's like he wasn't using it right, but the F word he used properly.
He must have heard his parents say it, or
no,
his dad.
He's in second grade.
Yeah.
He hears those things at school, public school. I'm really good about not swearing in front of the kids. I was. A couple things. So, and then at Fuego, so the next park, it's almost like two different parks. Explore turns into Explore Fuego at night. And that basically everything is lit by red lighting and fire, torches everywhere. You go ziplining through fire. It's really cool. I thought there'd be more fire than there actually was. When you're doing the amphibious vehicles, like fire shoots up around you and it can shock you. It's fun. You had a good time. There's definitely fewer people at night, so the zip lining, you don't have to wait as long. During the daytime, there's two options of circuits. There's a short circuit and a long circuit to do. Like there's one is 7 lines, the other's 3 lines. The 3-line one is closed at night, so you can only do the long circuit at nighttime.
Do you recommend doing both parks back to back, or is that too much, John?
I would do it in 2 different days. We did it in 2 different days because we didn't want to be eating multiple meals there either. Now, people bragged about the one video we watched ahead of time. People were bragging about how good the food was at Explore, especially during Fuego. It was fine. If you're coming from like a budget resort somewhere else, it's going to be really good food. But the Hotel Xcaret buffet was far superior, way better. I put it this way. When you walk at night into the Hotel Xcaret buffet at Mercado, you walk in, there's like a station where a lady is sitting there hand making tortillas and then like giving them to you, and then somebody's over there shaving off the al pastor meat and making you literally fresh tacos right in front of you. So I mean, amazing. You have that versus a buffet at Explore. It's just there's no comparison.
Doesn't compare.
Right. For what it was good. It wasn't like the best thing ever. So if you're staying at Hotel Xcaret, I would probably do both Explore and Explore Fuego, but come back another night, and then what we did is we did Explore Fuego on our resort day. So like we had a chill at the resort day, and then that night we went out to do Fuego.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and then you're only there for like 3 or 4 hours. But yeah.
What have we talked about so far? Xcaret Park
and Explore.
All right.
And Explore Fuego. So
And
3.
Fuego. Yeah.
Fuego.
Okay.
Fuego's awesome. I will say this. So it's hard to take photos at night there. Something to think about. They do have photo packages that you can add on, and we'll talk about that at the end. But that's a fun add-on, and you've seen all of our photos that we uploaded. We have a lot of great ziplining, silly photos.
You do.
So, which is like...
And video.
And well, the video is from the GoPro, but yeah. It was fun.
Well, we got to hear about it.
You get pictures of the whole family together and of you doing the fun things where you can't take a picture of yourself. So
which made it worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say now we chose the 5 park plus all your resort photos, because they also have those stations at the resort, photographers at the resort, like walking around. Well, I don't know if there's actually people taking pictures or if it's just the automated ones at the resort. But at the parks, there's people taking them. And then on the tours, there's people taking them. We had a photographer with us in our van that took pictures of just our van. Cool. And I want to say we spent like $300 and something on a package for 5 different parks and for the stuff around the hotel at the resort. it was worth it. We have some phenomenal photos.
Yeah,
and
you've got
I
great
do not
pictures.
regret that purchase at all. Highly
Yeah.
recommend. A couple things. Think about, do whatever the shortest line is at Explore. Sometimes the zip lining can back up in the morning. So if it seems that way, then head over and do something else, then hit the zip lining later. The lines were never terrible though when we were there.
Do you have to make reservations for these parks when you get there, or do you do it ahead of time before you go?
So for these parks, so for Explore and Xcaret, there are no reservations required.
Okay.
So you can just go as many times as you want. Xenses, which is the other one that's on site, they ask if you want to do morning or night ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's at the 30-day mark. When you make your dining reservations, you can start submitting these as well. It's part of your wish list that you can send to the concierge at the hotel. Okay. The next one, I'll breeze through the next one. It's kind of quick. It was Xel Ha, which is the water one. This is the one with the giant lighthouse water slide that you've probably seen in all the advertisements. It's got snorkeling, has a river tour. Oh, this one also has Children's World. But I will say this, the Children's World at Xcaret Park was super, super cool. It was like this a combination of water slides, but then, like the old play places we had when we were kids, there was like ropes and you had to like go down and like climb up rope ladders.
At McDonald's.
Yeah, but like maybe like Discovery Zone. Do you guys remember Discovery Zone?
Oh,
like that sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like that, but outdoors mixed with water slides, and it was awesome. The kids went and played on that for like an hour and a half. It was great. So they have one of those as well at Xel Ha. We didn't experience Xel Ha. There's a lot of stuff to do there. It's definitely great because for families that have younger kids, that's something to think about. And there are a lot of additional water-themed activities you can add on if you want to. But it's very water heavy. We won't go into too much into it because I did not get to experience it. We'll quickly talk about Xoximilco. That is at Xavage. It's this dinner flotillas that happen at Xavage. And it's like the tequila is flowing. Everybody 5+ is welcome. But like we talked last time on the episode, even if you're in the mindset that you have your 5-year-old with you, everybody else who's on your flotilla may not have that mindset. So we do not bring our kids and do that. Yeah, they're like gondola flotilla things. It's dinner, desserts, and an open bar are included, and there's like people pouring tequila in your mouth sort of environment.
Got it.
Maybe not awesome,
not kid friendly
for a 5 or 6-year-old. It is open to children, and maybe if you have a lot of kids on your flotilla, it'll be less rowdy. But I just don't know that I'd want to bring my kids to that.
Right. Did you use any of the childcare services, John, at the hotel?
So we did one night. So I will say this: and you cannot drop them and leave the resort. That's one thing. So if you wanted to go do an adults only off-site thing, you cannot if you want to leave them. So that's one thing to consider. Now they can arrange for, or you can arrange a nanny service through I think they can give you a couple names, or we can, send that to you. I think we've got a list of some at the agency, but that's things for you to think about. Like there's a lot of things for adults to do off-site, but you can't just drop your kids and leave. Also, my 10-year-old did not love the kids club. There's not an Xbox lounge. There's not like pool tables or ping pong tables, things that you would expect there to be at like a kids club. It's definitely they do a lot. Always are doing activities, but the activities are from 5 to 11-year-olds.
That's a big range.
Yeah, that's one thing to think about. And then they do have a teen like club, but it's more of a family club, and adults need to be there if you're under a certain age.
Okay.
So my kid hated that.
It doesn't seem like a resort. It doesn't seem like a resort of this style with all the additional things. You really need to have something like if you're dropping your kids to the kids club, but you can't leave the property. I mean that checks out. You're not taking advantage of everything that this resort provides you as an all-inclusive with those excursions and things.
Yeah,
I kind of get that.
That's part of it, is that you're hardly ever just sitting around at the resort where you need to drop them. Like when you go to like a beaches resort or another all-inclusive and it's mostly laying on the beach, and going to the pool, and your kids are like not going to want to lay on the beach for 6 hours in that day. And for 3 hours, they go and hang out in the kids club, do activities, go on a treasure hunt, and then go play Xbox. That's not there is some of that, but that's really not what this resort seems to be designed to do.
About. Right.
Right.
Makes sense.
So Xoximilco is like $110. Kids are $82. It seems like a lot of money if you're not. It was included for resort guests, but I don't know that I would want to do that if I was staying off site. with kids.
Yeah.
Without kids, I think it'd be a fun night out.
Yeah.
Xavage, that's where that's where Xoximilco is located. It is massive. They have kayaking, think of have any of y'all been to the US Whitewater Center in or National Whitewater Center in Charlotte? It's really cool. It's where like they train for the Olympics, like the whitewater teams. So they have like a man-made whitewater set up there and at Xavage, and they have kayaking, ropes course, a kids water park. They have this jet boat thing, whitewater rafting, zip lining, and a monster truck driving thing there. So it's kind of like Explore but elevated. Yeah.
No. Stop.
Yeah, they're like smaller monster trucks, but it's a thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. Did you do that?
While we did not do Xavage this time because it was
that's right.
45 minutes to an hour away depending on traffic. So we're kind of like, do we want to spend another day out? And then like we've tried prioritizing. We wanted like at least 2 rest days. Well, that's what I'm saying. You could do 2 weeks and still not do it all.
Yeah,
right.
So we did not get a chance to do Xavage. It looks awesome. If you're not
driving
staying
monster trucks,
I mean that's
pulling up my
really
Midwest.
cool.
I'm down.
That is
right?
awesome.
Yeah. If you're
My kids
not
will love
staying
that.
on site, this is probably the most expensive because the all-inclusive, which includes all of the things we just talked about, is $149 per person. So remember we talked about the range of prices. This might be one of the most expensive.
Yeah.
But monster trucks.
But monster trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, where else can you do that? Like name another place.
Xavage. That's it. Like I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah.
Driving
No other
grave
place.
digger, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only one I know. That's the only one I know.
That's the only one you need to know.
There it is. Bigfoot was one when we were kids, wasn't it?
Wait, was it?
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Okay.
And then Gravedigger. And then I remember when I see those commercials as a kid, I'm like, I want to go to that. We never went.
We're going to Monster Jam on Saturday, actually.
Yeah, David took Miles last year.
I love it.
Yeah, they had a great time.
Of course you are.
It's fantastic.
Corinne is showing that Texas.
I really am. I have the best time. Anyways, go ahead.
But you could drive them yourself here. So that's something to think about.
That's cool.
That's fun.
So I know, right? Okay. So
how much extra is that if you're staying on site?
140. Oh,
on-site is
149
included.
off-site.
It's included.
That's right.
Yeah.
Monster trucks included.
Yeah, exactly.
He did that on purpose.
He is such a dork. All right, moving on. Xenses Park. This is the third park that's located on site. This is the one that is designed to be a half-day park and includes no food. So only one that does not include food.
Good to know.
Xenses is fun. It's definitely a half day. I personally, looking back on it, we had a good time. It's got probably the best pictures to take. I don't know that I would do it again. Only because like I felt like we needed more time to just hang out at the resort and take another rest day. I think I would have preferred a rest day, the kids swimming, me drinking margaritas, that sort of thing all day, as opposed to doing this. I'll say this: it's fun, it's on site, it's quick to get there. You take the shuttles that are going. It's like 2 really big areas. They have like the town, and then they have this thing they call the Xensatorium. The Xensatorium is like this hellish nightmare they created. You have to walk.
Really selling it. You're selling it really good.
No, it's that my family, my wife and my extended family hated this. You go in and you're waiting there for like 40 minutes because they only let 6 people in this Xensatorium. There's only 6 paths for them to go. So 6 people at a time are going, and then you wait for 15 minutes, and then you wait maybe 10 minutes. And basically you go through, you have to take your shoes off. You have to wash your feet in like the sanitizing thing because you're going to experience this thing. And you go in, and if kids can't go by themselves, you have one kid to come. If you have a kid, they're coming with you and their hands are on your waist behind you walking. It's pitch black. And the idea is that they're pumping in sounds and they're pumping in scents. So you're using all your senses in this place. You're feeling things. You're not tasting anything, though. Jack said, should I open my mouth? I'm like, please don't. And as we're walking through, like it's hell on wheels, except without the wheels. It's terrible. Like I thought it was cool, but everybody else was like terrified. Like the ground goes from like sand to mushy to rocks.
Oh no!
At one point, you're on a bridge and you don't know if you're 12 feet off the ground or 12 inches off the ground.
And it's dark the whole time.
It's pitch black
see
the whole time. See nothing.
No.
How did the kids do with that? Did they freak out?
Not happy. Jack didn't, but apparently my niece or nephew really did not like it. Oh my gosh. So me and Jack went last, so because there's too many of us with so we couldn't go at the same time with everybody else. the way that the line fell. So apparently, like for a while, like if you're talking, you can hear the people next to you, right? And so like Steffi's with Matthias, and then my sister-in-law and their daughter, my niece, are like walking in the lane next to them, like it's a little bit over. And Steffi heard her say, "Everything's going to be okay, Violet. Don't worry." And Steffi, being the mature adult she is, says, "Are you sure about that?" Steffi was like not sure she was making it out alive.
I mean, she's not wrong. Like, she didn't know.
No. And like as we're like in the foliages change, it's basically they're taking you like through a desert and through like riverbed and then to like, you know, a forest and like all these different areas that is like jungle, like different places. And it was unique. It was interesting. Our family did not like it. I'll just leave it at that.
The concept is there.
It is. It's very cool.
Yeah.
You have to be okay. One thing they'd say, if you have issues with claustrophobia, it may not be a great thing.
Oh, then I'm out.
Because
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like all the foliage does, like you have to kind of like just move it. It doesn't hit you in the face, but like it's touching your body as you're walking through it. It's really weird.
Still don't open your mouth.
Fake pine needles. Don't open your mouth. Jack, should I open my mouth? It says all of your senses. I'm like, please don't.
I mean,
just don't, man.
It's very cool that he even like thought of that he knew that.
Yeah, you know.
So they have to hang on to the adult like the entire time. Yes. They have to have their hands on the adult's waist.
And what I did is I said, Jack, just put one on so you can feel the things as we're walking through. You know, he's you know 10. He's the size of Steffi. It's not like he's like this little kid who's going to get lost in there.
Right.
So it was fun. It was interesting. My extended family, my wife hated every second of it. They were kind of mad.
I think staying at the resort would have been a better choice.
Right.
With margarita.
On the back side of this, then you guys have seen the picture of me looking really upset, right? Like in the black shirt, like soaking wet, coming through like the tunnel.
Yes.
Okay,
I was wondering the context of
So that wasn't that.
Okay.
That's this other thing we're about to talk about. See, this is town, and the town looks like you're walking up a hill the way it's built, but you're really walking downhill because the water that's in the little stream is going downhill. And it looks like it's going up, and it's the way everything's built. You feel I was fine. My sister-in-law got such bad vertigo, she was like almost passing out. It was so funny. So it's meant to mess with your senses. And there's all these photo ops. You can go to the rooms, and it looks like you're like
vertigo's funny.
Well, hers
sounds more like torture.
It was interesting. Well, the rest of us thought it was cool. And then you get to the top of it, and there's like a few activities up there. One of them is the thing you've seen us do, we're like flying like a bird. You know, like they strap you into a harness and you lay flat, and then it's like you're basically on like it's kind of like a zip line, but it's like a steel tube, kind of like a roller coaster above you, but like you're just kind of like floating, almost like the pterodon flyers at Universal, except you're not in a seat. You're just like being held up on a harness, like flying on your stomach like a bird.
That's pretty cool.
That was fun. Okay. It was cool. It gives you the idea of flying. You have to be over a certain weight to do that, and you can't go tandem. So two of ours, the two youngest kids, couldn't do it. The other thing, then after you're done with that, there's also a fun water slide, but it's just a water slide. And then after that, you go to this thing where it's like this relaxing float in like water. It's supposed to be like a spa vibe, right? You're just floating along. You got to pull yourself. So you're sitting there pulling yourself along in this floating thing. It was a lot of work to be relaxing. And then after that, they have this other activity, which I did and I regret doing. And it's you get your butt in this mud float. It's like a mud bath. And my biggest concern was like, what if people made their own mud and left it in there? I didn't like that idea.
No.
Oh, jeez. Jonathan.
Yeah. Or they left their lemonade behind. I didn't like that.
Lemonade possibly. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I thought to myself, the water, they just add chlorine.
He's a boy.
How do they clean this mud?
They don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Wrap your brain around the texture of that around your whole body. Like I saw your pictures, and I can't imagine what that feels like.
And all the crevices. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll upload some of these photos to the podcast page.
So
but it's a lot.
Which part was it that you said that you had a really upset look on your face? You had your black shirt on.
That was after I showered.
After the mud slide thing?
After the mud thing. I was just over it.
You looked over it.
Well, because then you come out and you're like, there's like these things that dump water on you and they're ice cold. And you're just like it was like a torture session. That was not my thing. So long story short, Xenses was unique. There was a lot of cool optical illusions. We got lots of funny pictures.
Unique is a good word for it.
Yeah.
John,
you sold it. You sold it.
Can you let us know what both Jack and Matty thought were their favorite parks and least favorite?
I think everybody's least was Xenses.
Okay.
Just because everybody's favorite park was Explore.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that?
Well, yeah, it didn't sound. It sounded like everyone that would have been your favorite for sure.
Matthias does not love the floats through the natural water where there could be things swimming.
He was cold on that as well, right? Was that when he was freezing on? Yeah.
Right. So the one more park we haven't talked about, and it's really not a park, it's the Cenotes Tour. This was phenomenal. I loved this. It was so cool. There was so much stuff to do. It includes transportation. Obviously, it cannot be booked separate without transportation. So even if you're booking the Cenotes Tour from someone else, you need to pay for because you can't just arrive at the Cenotes. Like they transport you to all these different cenotes, and there was just like so many things to do. It's 4 different types of cenotes: semi-open, open, cave, and dry. I don't know what they mean by dry, but that's how they're labeled. But they're all very cool. It includes a lunch picnic, and the picnic was really good. Actually, looking back at it, I think it was probably better than the buffet at Explore after everybody built up Explore, because this picnic lunch had like tuna, what's it called? Like what do you call it? Tuna,
seared tuna.
Wasn't seared.
Or tartare.
Tuna like tataki, maybe more like a tataki, like or just like it's like almost like a sushi, like in
sashimi?
like but not sushi. Yeah,
sashimi?
It was like mixed in like a sauce, but it was really good. Like maybe like a tartare, but it was so good.
Oh,
and
you're
then there's
thinking
like other
of
fish.
I know what you're thinking of. I can't think of it
like
now.
In like a soy sauce almost, or like a teriyaki. It was really good. So anyway, they had all kinds of food. Build your own sandwiches. We really enjoyed the food there. The only thing is they didn't have water bottles. They had soda, but not water bottles. That was a little disappointing. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. You have to be a certain weight to do the zip line, but it didn't seem to apply to anybody here. Everybody kind of did everything except for one activity they couldn't do. But besides that, everybody did everything. There's kayaking, which was a ton of fun. The kids loved kayaking. We did the rappelling down into the cave cenote. That was so cool. There's bats flying all around your head. Didn't love that.
Nope.
So especially after my brother and sister-in-law, they're like, we're good. We can do this, because they had a bat fly in their house down their chimney like last Christmas.
So they're okay.
Well, they had to get inoculated. And the inoculation, if you get a bat
that's
exposure,
right.
is real bad. It's like multiple shots. So they're like, we're ready to go. Let's go see all the bats. I'm like, jeez. Steffi wasn't having any of that, but it was very cool. So the cave,
I don't see her being,
was super cool.
being in that.
Okay, the cliff jumping was super fun. Jack and I did it had to have been like a 15-foot jump into the water. It was so much fun. Oh my
gosh.
Like I would never do that in any other time of life, because I'm always like a chicken. And I'm like, I just got up there and I'm like, everybody's doing it, I'm doing it. So I did it. And then Steffi stands up and then she walks away. Like I'm like, I've got a great video of her like chickening out like at the edge of the cliff to jump. So, but that was great. I mean, I think also Cenotes might be one of my favorites. I'm not going to go into details about the other tours, because those are tours like out to what's the word I'm looking for, to like archaeological sites.
Tulum.
I didn't get to experience them. Tulum, Coba, and Chichen Itza.
Okay.
So there is like an upgraded an update, or what's the word I'm looking for? There is a extra cost to do the Chichen Itza deluxe tour. Includes a meal, all that. It's all days. It's 2.5 hours to 3 hours from the resort. If you're not staying on property, it's $160 per person. Ooh. If you are staying on property, it's $33. So there is like a bit of a thing, and it does have include access to Chichen Itza. You have a certified guide. You do have free time to walk around. You stop on the way there, on the way back at a cenote. Includes your soft drinks, water, beer, and it includes breakfast and lunch that day, because you were gone a long time.
Real quick, is alcohol included at most of these parks? I did see that
if they're
one
adventure
of them...
ones, there's no alcohol. Like Explore and
Safety.
Xavage, they don't let. Yeah. Actually, I think Xavage might have it, but the moment you take a drink of alcohol, they don't let you do any more activities. But Explore has none.
Okay.
That didn't stop
That's
some
smart.
people from showing up to Explore Fuego toasty
Already
at night. Yeah.
Because I mean,
That
it's
already had
at night,
fun.
so they'd been out
Right.
all
You
day.
know, they've been
yeah.
at an all-inclusive resort.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And then one cool thing I was going to say, I think Coba, I might be wrong, but I think Coba is one of the few archaeological sites that is open that you can still walk to the top of the pyramid.
Okay.
So,
And
I
not
don't
get
know
yelled
that.
at.
Right, well, or be like fined. So something to think about. Then you also have like they call sailing or shaling. I don't know what they say. The shaling will actually is like a boat that'll take you from anybody can book this from downtown Hotel Zone, not downtown, Hotel Zone Cancun out to Isla Mujeres, like an island, and back. It also includes round trip transportation. If you're coming from the hotel to there, if you want to line that up, you can line that up ahead of time. There's also like a snorkeling tour you can do. There's also like a sunset thing. They just started all of these sailing things that are kind of ever changing. They're kind of working they built that marina over by Costa de la Playa, and now they have like a fleet of catamarans and these boats. So all of that is kind of a new thing that they're venturing into now.
So as you can already tell, we hit on it last time, but when I personally asked John, okay, how long do I need to make my trip, right? If you're planning this, and he goes 14 nights, and you can already tell there's so much to do. There's so much, and you can't hit it all in 7 nights and take advantage of the resort and every single park that's included. There's
you were there.
Much.
Was it 8 nights? 7?
7 nights, but we arrived early and departed late. So like we were
really
at the
taking
resort by
advantage.
noon, and our flight left at 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the last flight out to Atlanta that night. So we really tried making the most of the trip. That's why we, had the private transfers arranged for our arrival so we could get the party started right away. We're excited. There's so much, and they keep adding stuff. So like I've had clients that have done this, like they could only have 5 days and they still went and did this. And one of my clients has like the worst FOMO ever, right? And her thing was like she was trying to figure out how she was going to do all of this in 5 days. And I'm like, you are not going to do all of it in 5 days.
You're not going to do it.
You kill yourself. Yeah.
Like you're not going to do it all in 7 days. Try. Right. So she still had a great time. When you're doing this, just know you're not going to be able to do everything. It's going to have to be 2 separate trips. Or if you're coming from like the UK, you can do it, 2 days or do 2 weeks. But like here in the States, very rarely do we get 2 full weeks to do anything. So that's something
budget
to think
wise.
about.
That's hard pill to swallow as well.
Yeah. I mean, and we've talked about this. Like it is like for a family of 4, this is a $10,000 trip. Like it just is. It's something you budget for, you save for. And a lot of people are spending $10,000 to go to Disney for a week. I easily think this is comparable, if not better, than Disney in a lot of ways. So, I mean, all your food and drinks are included too. That's another thing. When you're at Disney, you got to tack all that on.
But that doesn't include flights either.
It does not include flights. So we travel enough that we at least get 1 or 2 flights for free when we go internationally because we have miles that we've got saved up. But man, flights to Mexico have actually gone down in 2024 versus 22 and 23. So that's good. There's some good flight deals out there if you're going the right time. But long story short, so much is included. And as we mentioned before, either you can do it or your travel agent can do it for you, but you can make reservations for most of these experiences starting at the 30-day mark before your trip. That's super important to know. If you show up and you want to do some of these more like in-demand tours, you may be told, sorry, like Cenotes fills up right away. Like that's something that if you wait to the last minute, you may not get Cenotes, particularly on a day you want to do it. That being said, for my family, I submitted everything to guest services. Sorry, the day that it opened at midnight, because I just had like set it in my email like ready to go at midnight. Right. And we had everything we wanted, every day we wanted. We had our reservation at Ha the night we wanted. We had everything lined up. So we even had, I wish I would have done that. I had booked the Jingao, the teppanyaki dinner for our last night. And I think the kids just wanted to swim in the pool. So we canceled it. But just things to think about. There's a lot to do. And when they say all fun inclusive, they really do mean it. There's very little upcharges for anything. If you are going on a tour, make sure you bring money to tip your guides. That's important.
That's a good point.
Anything
They'll take
you guys
USD, right? They'll take USD.
Gladly, yeah. You don't need to change money. As long as you're doing something either at the parks or you're doing something at the hotel or it's connected to those, you're fine. If you're going to go into like Tulum and want to go shopping, they may every shop may not take US dollars. So something to think about. Any other questions you guys have about this? Because I don't know what we missed.
I think we should go.
I think we've covered so much.
Yeah. I just need to go myself. I'm excited.
I know.
Need to go check it out.
For real. Well, we're talking about wanting to do me and Steph and maybe a couple other people down to Casa de la Playa. Well, we can't go more than for 3 or 4 nights without the kids because of childcare.
Right.
You can't just abandon your small children for over a week unless it's a really big a big anniversary. Well, no, we have to. We did it when we went to Hawaii.
You got family around.
Yeah, my mom watched the kids when we went to Hawaii, but that's not something you can do every year. That's a special occasion thing for us.
Right.
So for us to leave for a full week without the kids is difficult. So 5 nights, Casa de la Playa, I'm are we going to experience the hotel at all? In 5 nights. So things to think about.
Yeah,
We'd be happy to help you figure it out, though. I promise you that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Where We Roam podcast. I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this last 52 in-depth minutes of the podcast. It may be a little shorter because our intro went long. That being said, if you have any questions about, or if you want to give us your thoughts on Xcaret or Hotel Xcaret or anything, any part of the all fun inclusive concept, we would love to hear your thoughts. We would also be happy to answer any of those questions for you. Once again, if you enjoyed the show, you can we would really appreciate a 5-star review and a like and subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. And until next time, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.